Alright, peace, beautiful souls, and welcome to another video brought to you by Celestial Alignments. My name is Saleh and I am your host on this channel. And today we are going to be discussing a subject that is definitely of importance. We're going to be talking about overthinking, and essentially how to divert yourself from overthinking, you know what I'm saying? Because typically when we find ourselves overthinking, it's usually negative and it's a continuous spiral downwards, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to overthinking, it's a value to understand that overthinking primarily comes from our neocortex. And okay, so when it comes to brainwaves, you know what I'm saying, we have four, and we are able to, in a sense, consciously operate in three of them. We can really operate in all four of them, but the last one we typically tap into when we are sleeping, you know what I'm saying? But theta, alpha, and beta, and then there's gamma, which is the one that we tap into when we're asleep. The three, theta, alpha, and beta, these are brainwaves that essentially we fluctuate from as we are going throughout our day. Now, typically though, the default brainwave that most people walk around tuned into is beta. Now, beta is the brainwave that deals with, it's a very habitual, subconscious type of vibe. It's kind of like you just going through your day, doing what you did yesterday, doing what you did before that. You're not really putting too much thought into the things you're doing. You're kind of going through the motions. If you cook, you have you're like a woman who has like a whole like home routine, let's say, whatever, you do that. If you're a guy, a man, whatever, you do that, that routine. But it's like outside of that pattern routine, there's really no thought that goes into it. That's like beta. It's kind of a default setting of kind of almost being like the Walking Dead to an extent, you know what I'm saying? Then there is the alpha brainwave. Now, the alpha brainwave is where like overthinking kind of comes into play, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to alpha, it's a value and importance to understand that the alpha brainwave, what it does is it's that space where we are trying to problem solve, you know what I'm saying? It's when you kind of, let's say you're going through your day-to-day and then you realize something you don't like, you recognize you're overweight, you recognize you're broke, whatever it may be, you know what I'm saying? And you're like, holy crap, I need to do something about this. And then you start thinking, you start trying to solve the problem. And this is, the alpha brainwave, the alpha frequency, and this is kind of like the monkey running around. It's not really organized, it's kind of chaotic, you know what I'm saying? This is where overanalyzation and overthinking comes into play. It's when you're in that space of, there's these problems I need to solve. Overanalyzing, and trying to, like, putting your neocortex on overdrive, we will say, you know what I'm saying? And thus getting headaches and all of this other nonsense that is avoidable. Now, I want to take a couple steps back, and I hope that I have addressed the source of overthinking, right? The source of overthinking does stem from that alpha brainwave energy, and it does have to deal a lot with us analyzing a circumstance in a situation. That's saying the devil's in the details is very deep, you know what I'm saying? So when circumstances and situations are happening, we typically are inclined towards trying to solve and revolve those situations ourselves, but that's not completely the right way to do it. To an extent it can be, but when you really feel like your back is against the wall and you're scared and you really don't know what to do and you're overthinking and overanalyzing, then that's negative, and we'll talk about what the alternative should be, you know what I'm saying? Before I move forward to talking about the difference between thoughts and thinking, now that I've kind of discussed the source of where overthinking comes from, our tendency to overanalyze situations and our desire to want to solve problems. Now, the desire to want to solve problems, you feel me, is a very essential aspect, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying It's a very essential aspect. But I'll get deeper into why I kind of speak on why we should. Okay, let me put it like this. Above alpha, the brainwave where you're like trying to solve problems, it's theta. Now, the theta brainwave, this is the brainwave you tap into when you're listening to, let's say, meditative music, like that. Or when you're tapped into the breath, right? Or when you're, it's like, when you're intaking certain psychoactive drugs, right? Like THC, CBD, whatever, you know what I'm saying? That also can help slow your brainwave, slow your heart rate, and thus slow your brainwave, you know what I'm saying? And then theta is like the monkey slowing down and realizing like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, I can't solve the problem if I'm a part of the problem, you know what I'm saying? And that's like, and now the monkey is like sitting in stillness. Alright, so theta is that calm vibe that you get when you're in meditation. There's different modes of meditations, like you meditate for certain reasons, you know what I'm saying? Ideally though, in the pursuit of still in the mind, you would want to meditate to get familiar with stillness, you feel what I'm saying, to quiet your mind. But anyways, back to the monkey analogy. Theta is like the monkey sitting down and chilling the fuck out, you know what I'm saying? So theta is, the difference between theta and alpha is survival mode. This is us worried about surviving, right? How am I going to survive? How am I going to pay the bills for next week, next month, or whatever? But then theta is all about creativity, Rather than trying to survive in a world that's not even your own, theta is about creating your world, you know what I'm saying? Creating your world and being like the CEO of that world, being the lowercase god of that world, whatever you want to say, you know what I'm saying?